Awesome. Alright, you just select all the bones, you click ragdoll constraint, and it'll just put them right on there for you, or you can be the Rambo of 3ds Max and put them all on yourself. I believe there's over 60 some of them, so yeah. So now it's got ragdoll constraints on it. I'll explain a little bit about the ragdoll constraint in just a minute. First, I'm going to go in here and hit preview animation. Now watch this. Oh wow, it still exploded. Alright, how are we going to fix that? Well, what we need to do is we need to get these ragdoll constraints to all register in the reactor. So how do we do that? We go up here and we create constraint solver, and if you read the name, it pretty much explains itself. It solves the constraints. So we'll just put that right out here, and you have to add whatever collection. If you have a soft body collection, you have to add them all to this. If you have a rigid body, so right here, I believe this particular one only supports rigid body collections, but just leave your deactivation threshold at 10. Select all of your ragdolls here. Quite a few of them. 66 of them. Leave this disabled, leave this at 10. Alright, so now all the ragdolls are registered on here. As you can see, they're all on the list. So now, if we put this in reactor, all the bones stuck together. It's nasty looking, but they stuck together. Alright, so sometimes if you need to get a smoother animation, you can adjust this to 60, 50, 40 feet per second and different amounts of substeps. Personally, I leave it at 10 substeps. Sometimes the different frames per second, did I say feet per second? Frames per second are better. Each time you change any of these, the animation is going to end up different. It's going to be different every time. If you change any settings at all, expect it to be completely different. So here we have the skeleton kind of just flopping down all nasty like, and I'll explain why. One reason why is because of the ragdolls. They're going wherever the hell they want right now. The rotation of them, show the twist. See, that's a lot of rotation for a leg. It can rotate anywhere from over here to over here, that entire leg. So we don't want that. And also, the ragdoll is going back here and up here. That's not exactly how we want it either. If we show the cone, that's the area that this particular bone can go. So we'll fix that momentarily. Another reason that this is just flopping around like that is because the bones are colliding with each other. I don't necessarily want my bones to collide with each other. You might want yours too, but I don't like mine too. So we'll go down to the collisions tab on the utilities panel in reactor. We'll go to define collision pairs, and we'll select all the ones. Make sure you don't select box L1 because we want that to collide with everything, and currently it does. You select all the bones of your skeleton. You select all the ones in here that say enable collisions, and it automatically disables some of them for you, but not all of them, just the ones that it feels would be best to disable. So we're just going to select this entire list. We're going to hit the double over key. It puts every single collision on the disable collisions. Alright, we want common collisions checked. So now we're going to go in here. And look at that, he just fell kind of straight down. All the bones weren't reacting with each other. Creates a little bit cleaner of an animation. Now, I'm going to do this with one substep and show you. You see how it kind of just falls through the mesh And if you do like say 20 sub-steps, it's gonna start trying to bounce off the mesh, as you can see here with the fingers flipping out. There it goes. See you later. 10 is kind of just like the goddess of the sub-steps. It's kind of just right in between where it needs to be. So just leave it at 10 and then adjust it between 30 and 60 frames per second. We'll just look at how it reacts with the different frames per second. So yeah, every time you change the frames per second, you're going to get a different reaction. Now, I explained to you a couple things about Reactor here. If you hit E, that's going to show you sort of wire mesh over mesh mode. It's pretty useless. Sometimes it'll help you see the bones a little bit better. You just use your right click to rotate. Now your left click, this is kind of interesting. If you left click on a bone, you can move it around and you can see sort of how the bones are reacting. Not very well. So you can also do it through here. Just click these wireframe simulated edges, blah blah blah. Alright. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to explain to you a little bit about the ragdoll. So what would be nice to use on here is the hinges. To get a hinge constraint, and it would just move the bone one way. It wouldn't rotate anywhere. Unfortunately, if we do that, it doesn't register correctly. It wants to hinge this way, like outwards. So his leg would just be hinging sideways and not frontward and backward. And for some reason, I can't rotate the hinges to do it a different way. So in order to get these to stop freaking out like this, you have to go through each ragdoll, and yes, it's a pain in the ass. This is where it gets hard. You go to the modifier tab, you got your ragdoll here. It has a parent body. It should always have the parent body. You have to go down and don't show the plane. That doesn't really matter. You need to show your twist and your plane limits. Alright, so this particular bone is going to rotate anywhere within this green twist, whatever you want to call it. Alright, so and then the cone right here, it's gonna move anywhere within this cone, so it's just gonna be absolutely freaking out here. So what we want to do is reduce this, and let me look here because I don't quite remember. It's too early in the morning for me, my one day off work. Let me open up the working one. Alright, unhide all. Alright. Alright, now as you can see here, I have the twist squished in real tight. That way it won't do a whole lot of rotating. And I have the cone where it would only rotate as much as a leg. And then we look at the plane limits here. No, sorry. Wait, which one is it? There we go. The strength in the towel is only at 50%. Now, the way you adjust all these, the strength in the towel, you can just type in whatever. The twist, the cones, all that. You can just move these tabs here, and as you can see up there in the twist, it's moving larger, smaller, larger, smaller. The cone, same idea behind it. And basically what you want to do with these is you want them to be